Good afternoon. I'm your host, Steve Bassnett, and along with Aaron Marsden, just over there, I would like to welcome everyone on behalf of CANASA and Security Canada to our weekly online learning session. While many are stuck at home, we thought this would be a good time to deliver some product and service knowledge that will be beneficial when we're all back to work. I would like to say a special thank you to Allegion Canada Incorporated for their support and sponsoring today's session. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing James Rivet of Allegion Canada. James is a security consultant with 16 plus years experience in the architectural hardware and access control industry, and is skilled in solution selling, business planning, identifying new opportunities, and new technology trends. Feel free to type any questions you may have for James during the session into the chat window, and he will respond during the Q&A portion roughly 20 minutes from now. I'll now turn the session over to James, who promises to get you guys done in time for the hockey game. Welcome, James, and thanks for being here.
Thanks very much, Steve. I really appreciate the opportunity today, and thank you all very much for your time. And I am just about here to share my, my presentation. All right, so we are going to be diving into the Schlage Mobile Access Solution here today on our webinar. And first to begin, we're going to step back about 100 years and talk about Walter Schlage, who founded the Schlage Lock company in San Francisco, California, back in 1920. And for those of you who remember 1920, well, good for you. Unlike most of us, though, I certainly do not. But what I can tell you is that a lot has changed since 1920 with regards to the Schlage Lock company. And ultimately, when we fast forward to 2018, Schlage is now owned by a parent company called Allegion. We are publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and our access control portfolio is made up of the following brands. Aside from just Schlage, we also see Isonis, LCN, Locknetics, and Von Duprin make up about 18.5% of the North American access control market share. Now, one of those big technological advancements that has happened in the last 100 years is the evolution of the smartphone. For the most part, a lot of us have one of these today, and the crazy thing about it is it's taken over a lot of the traditional devices that we may have had, whether that's an alarm clock, a calculator, a camera, even an MP3 player. You know, the smartphone really does it all, and so, you know, why not have it do our access control as well? So when we look at access control and mobile capable readers, Allegion, specifically Schlage, has been manufacturing this product well before 2018 and has really been geared towards the higher education vertical market and has supplied near-field communication credentials. But fast forward today, and we are releasing a new Schlage Reader that also has the capability of reading Bluetooth low energy credentials that can reside both on Android or Apple smartphones. Here's what it looks like. So we can unlock openings remotely with our smartphone using our virtual credential up to a distance of approximately 20 feet away. And one of the other things you may have also noticed is the fact that our mobile device had to be unlocked in order for this to happen. So essentially what we are doing here is we are adding a layer of security. So let's say, for example, Steve lost his access card on the floor of the CANASA office. Anyone could pick that card up off the floor, touch all the different readers, and see what Steve's card could open. Whereas if Steve was using a mobile credential and his smartphone automatically locked when the screen was off, when that person picked up Steve's phone, he would have to be able to unlock the phone in order for the openings to be unlocked with the mobile device. And as I mentioned, this product is available for download now, both on the Android and Apple marketplaces. So certainly something at Schlage that we take very seriously is security. And we are very happy to boast 256 AES asymmetric encryption with our product. And that extends even to our open source policy to the platform. If our reader is connected via OSDP Secure to a third-party access control system, we are able to boast 256 AES encryption from mobile device all the way to head-end platform. Now, one other very important thing to point out is we realize that in some cases, we may not have internet or cellular service with our mobile device, and yet we still may want to use our mobile credential. So the great thing about it is that the Schlage mobile product is capable of working without an internet or cellular connection. Now, we don't just manufacture mobile credentials. Schlage does manufacture a whole gamut of traditional access control credentials as well. Everything from key tags to printable ISO cards, clamshell cards, MyFair bracelets, you name it. It's all available. As well as the technologies that we support range from old traditional prox technologies to MyFair EV2 being our new standard. And of course, we're even able to combine some of these technologies, creating a multi-technology credential, where we're even able to put MyFair EV2, proximity, and traditional magstripe all on one credential. At Schlage as well, I already mentioned we take security very important, but we do also offer custom encoding as well as custom encryptions. So what are the difference? Well, custom encodings are traditionally limited bit formats. You may have heard of, say, 35C, where no duplicates of the encoded ID are manufactured. Schlage does offer that, but we will also offer custom encryptions, which are specifically talking about the connection between the credential and the reader. For more information on our encryptions, please check out Schlage Security, our YouTube channel, as it does a great job of detailing how our encryptions operate and what 256 AES encryption actually means. Now, when you're looking for our credentials at wholesale in a small quantity, we do offer what we call an off-the-shelf encoding. That means that we're supplying a 26-bit format in sequential IDs that continue to grow. That means that you'll never be faced with a duplicate credential when you buy a product off the shelf at a wholesale partner in Canada. But then as well, if you do choose custom encoding, that is also available, as I mentioned. Now, one thing to also point out is open architecture. A lot of people sometimes question, hey, what does open architecture mean? And what it means with regards to our smart card technology, just like a USB key, you're able to read and write data to smart cards. And so what we're doing at Schlage is allowing end users or integrators who use other MyFair technologies to read and write data to the other sectors of Schlage cards without paying any additional fees. What are some of those other MyFair services? Well, quite often we see things like PC logon, library services, and even mass transit systems using these types of MyFair credentials and different sectors of Schlage cards. One thing that we like to boast about is the fact that right out of the bat, we use high quality composite materials to manufacture all of our products. This makes our products significantly more durable, ultimately allowing us to offer a lifetime warranty on all of our credentials. Now, how do these mobile credentials get programmed? That's a great question. We utilize a cloud-based access control platform called Allegion Engage. So when an integrator purchases Allegion-enabled hardware, the Allegion Engage cloud comes at no additional cost. So no additional cost, no hidden costs, no monthly fees. And integrators are able to operate the Engage-enabled hardware in 3 different fashions. Number 1 is an offline mode where we connect to the hardware via Bluetooth and our mobile device becomes our conduit to the Engage cloud. Number 2 is where we connect our Engage hardware via Wi-Fi to the Engage cloud, where we will receive daily updates. And number 3 is a no-tour mode. And what we're doing here is we're writing lock data to cards instead of writing card data to locks. And so this allows a concierge or a property manager to utilize the enrollment reader and enroll card data for users at a centralized location, and then ultimately the card holder is populating the access control system with its information. So there are a lot of great features about the Allegion Engage platform. It does a lot of the standard access control stuff that you would imagine. So it can manage up to 500 locks and 5,000 users. You can create users, assign access privileges, set lock schedules, holidays, and even more. So it certainly is a great entry-level access control system. So what is a listing here of all of the hardware we can manage with this platform? Well, we talked about the mobile credential as well, but we also have deadbolts, readers, mortise locks, and cylindrical locks. So if we're to dive in a little deeper into what that reader looks like, a lot of you have probably used our Schlage MT Series readers in the past. This is its latest generation called the MTB Series. And you'll notice that we've added the Bluetooth icon right beside the Schlage logo for clear visibility of the latest generation. So aside from the fact of the improved voltage range, which really simplifies power management, we also boast the fact that right out of the box, the product can connect to access control systems, either via OSDP Secure, Clock and Data, or WeGAN. We're able to utilize its multi-technology capabilities by reading proximity credentials, smart credentials, near-field communication credentials, and of course, the new Bluetooth Schlage mobile credential. And finally, one of the other great advantages of this new card reader is the fact that we no longer need configuration cards to set up the reader. We're actually able to connect our mobile device right to this reader and configure things like the beeper, the LED display, but yet, of course, even configure what card technologies the reader is going to read. So let's say a customer has been using old unsecure proximity credentials. They've migrated to the new Schlage MyFair EV2 product for security. They're able to actually connect to the readers and turn off the proximity antenna once that card population has been migrated over to the secure Schlage credential. But of course, these readers won't do anything on their own. They need to be connected to an access control system. As I mentioned, they certainly can be connected to a third-party access control system, but they also can be connected to a CTE door controller, which allows it to operate on the Engage cloud. So the door controller is going to manage things like electric strikes and maglocks with that traditional around the door wiring setup. It is also capable of taking traditional power supplies and more modern PoE or power over Ethernet for its power configuration. When we fast forward into more of the innovative product, we see one of the best-selling items from Schlage, which is the wireless cylindrical lock, also known as the NDE series. We've added the B for Bluetooth, and also we've made a few additional changes to this product as well. So like product in the past, it certainly still does install in minutes as opposed to hours, but we've done some great work upgrading the wireless radio for longer wireless communication, but we've also added an interior push button. So the interior push button allows us to do some pretty tricky things. So no longer is the door going to close and lock behind us. We can also choose to connect our mobile device to this product and configure the function electronically. So this means we can configure the product to be privacy for a bathroom application, apartment for condos or apartment, and of course, office, whether we want to toggle lock or unlock situations, let's say without going outside. But then of course, we can program a schedule. So if we do forget to relock this product, our access control system can kick in at a certain time and relock it for us. Also, we have a Mortise Lock, certainly a very durable product, and we make this in two different fashions. One being a Mortise Deadbolt with a 1-inch solid steel deadbolt that you'll see just above the latch, and we make this less deadbolt as well, simply just called a Mortise Lock. Now, this product did receive the upgraded wireless radio, just like the MTB Series. And one thing to mention, this product does come in 31 different lever designs, 2 knobs, and 10 finishes. So as aesthetics are of high importance to you, this is definitely the right choice. One other thing that I will mention is most Mortise locks typically receive a cycle testing of around 1 million cycles. Our Schlage product has been independently tested for 16 million. This makes us the most durable product in the marketplace. So if providing quality products to your customers is important, the only choice you have is Schlage. Now, to round out the portfolio, we also manufacture a deadbolt. However, this deadbolt's a little different than the one that you might see on the front of your house. Even though it is electronic, it does not have any push buttons. Instead, it's using MyFair technology and has a built-in card reader in the front. And so we can use traditional credentials, just like we saw earlier, and of course, the Schlage mobile credential as well. Now, to dive in a little deeper into the multifamily vertical market, we can take a look at exactly what an application looks like. So, as we mentioned before, typically multifamily applications have a concierge of some sort or a property manager, or really someone who's going to manage in the past, which was cutting keys, but really in the future, administering access control credentials. And we typically see access control today on the perimeter of a lot of these types of buildings, these being apartments, condominiums, senior living homes, as well as student dormitories. Allegion Engage is a very popular platform for this type of vertical market. We see the product typically go on the door in a no tour mode, ultimately allowing us to encode the cards by our concierge or property manager. And then of course, the card holder would take the card to the lock set that is on the door, which then updates our programming information for that lock set. So as I show here on the chart on the left, we quite often see the deadbolt reside on apartment and condominium doors, but we do often see the Mortise Lock with deadbolt on certainly student dormitories and higher end condominiums. The NDE is often utilized on common areas like fitness centers and lockers. So what does this really mean for multifamily, and how does technology really drive the business? Well, it really comes in two different fashions. Number one, it reduces operating expense. And number two, it's a source of revenue generation. And we look at operating expense reduction, it's all about cutting out the rekey. If we no longer have to send a locksmith to rekey each apartment door every time we have a tenant turnover, and we simply can just hit the delete key on the card, we're saving money. Also, when we look at how the world has changed, something like package delivery really benefits condominiums and apartments. Mailrooms were not designed for Amazon packages. And with electronic locks, we can now safely and securely have packages delivered right into suites. Also, when we look at revenue generation, it now really elevates the value of our property. It no longer looks as something historical. Let's be honest. Certainly, we've already talked about the popularity of mobile devices, and a lot of customers out there want to be using their mobile device as a form of access control. This is going to help property managers fill those vacant suites. So when we look at combining operational expense reduction as well as revenue generation, really what we get out of it is value. And as I mentioned, this can all happen with the Allegion Engage platform, but we're also able to connect this product to other different property technologies. So whether that is in the form of an app that's designed by an integrator-based company, or even something from a third-party access control system, we're always elevating the value to the customer. Similarly, this value proposition holds true within the world of commercial real estate. Now, we often see commercial real estate buildings have an access control solution on the perimeter, but once we get to that rented suite, we often have to reside on a mechanical key in order to gain access to the suite. This is cumbersome, and we still have a lot of those challenges of rekeys and all those other things. Whereas if we were to install an NDE wireless lock on the door, quite often we can do this without changing the prep on the door whatsoever, which means drilling absolutely no new holes. And then we're also able to leverage the local Wi-Fi network within the office to connect our hardware and have it operate in what we call a daily mode. This means that the hardware connects to the Engage cloud once a day, downloads any new card holders, and uploads any audits. But of course, if there is a unique scenario, we are capable of going directly to the door and changing any programming information immediately with our mobile device. As we look at a few different applications, we also see places without a network connection to be very popular for the Allegion Engage platform. Simply because we want the convenience of access control. We don't want to worry about transit times for employees to come and unlock doors and whatnot. We like to be able to program the locks, place them on the door, have them run in an offline mode, and ultimately execute a schedule or be able to provide the convenience and security of access control. Now, this product is also scalable. So what that means is if our end user grows out of the needs of Allegion Engage, this product is capable of being connected to a third-party access control system, providing online, real-time access control, just like as if it were a traditional around-the-door hardwired system. So typically what we're doing is we're connecting 10 wireless devices to one gateway, and the gateway typically has about a 50-foot range. If you're not quite sure about signal strength, we do offer for sale a signal test kit, as well as a lot of the Allegion sales representative have these kits and are able to make sales calls to the field and perform wireless surveys as well. When we take a look at what this partner list looks like, there's a lot. Over 50 wireless partners integrate the Allegion Engage hardware. A lot of them do integrate it in different fashions and integrate different features. So I encourage you all to reach out to an Allegion salesperson if you require any assistance, or certainly your PAX partner salesperson for any questions with regards to how Allegion works with these different PAX partners. But then, of course, if you're into self-learning online, feel free to follow us on, these social media channels. I will point out that on YouTube, we do have a great documentary that's about 20 minutes in length about Walter Schlage and the formation of the Schlage Lock Company in San Francisco, California, like I mentioned, 100 years ago. Also, we have a lot of great educational videos, not just about how EV2 256 AES encryption works, but also about how to install this product, what comes in the box, and how to commission it, really to make the job of the integrator or the installer a whole lot easier and prepare for prior to purchase. Now, I mentioned at Allegion, we do manufacture a whole other grouping of products aside from just Allegion Engage items. There's a lot of detail here, so I certainly do encourage you all to reach out to one of the Allegion sales representatives. The ones noted in the colored boxes on the left support sales functions in the different regions across Canada. Claude Simard is our expert who manages our PAX partners. Those are the ones that are managing and manufacturing the head-end access control systems. He's very capable of answering a lot of your questions in that regard. Sandro Vano is our system design expert. He's got over 20 years designing systems as an integrator and would be more than happy to help out with a solution that needs to be designed. And of course, again, my name's James Rivet. I am providing you this information today. Feel free to reach out to me if you do have any questions. And of course, we will be offering the Schlage Mobile Credential as a free trial for the remainder of 2020. And of course, we do have programs about with regards to trying some of our hardware as well. This can be all facilitated by connecting to one of our regional sales contacts. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Steve in case there are some questions.
Thank you, James. That was great. Yes, there are some questions. And just before we get started on that, I'll let everybody know if we don't get to your question, we will forward them to James after the session and he will respond to you directly. So don't worry, we will get you some answers. First question, James, what does the equipment lifetime warranty cover?
That's great. That's a great question. So it's certainly kind of difficult for me to detail all the ins and outs of our warranty. We do have it all detailed in our price book, but ultimately, I'll be honest with you, we quite often don't see this product fail in the field. So certainly if you have that experience, reach out to us because we're more than interested in finding out, hey, what went wrong? But ultimately the hard and fast number is, it really does vary. Everything from lifetime warranty on some items like credentials to approximately 2 to 3 years, depending on which electronic lock you're looking at.
Great, thanks. Next question, is it 500 locks and 5,000 users per site or per dealer account?
It's 500 locks per site if we're looking at the controlled deadbolt, 100 locks if we're looking at either the NDE or LE series, and of course 500 users per site, and we do not limit the number of sites each integrator is going to manage.
Okay, thanks. Can you disable credentials and track if someone is trying to use them?
Yes, absolutely. So we can disable a credential either in all of the different modes that it operates, but then of course, if that credential has been, let's say, revoke its access rights, it will still show up within the audit trail if a user did try to use it, and of course the time and date stamp is also available on the audit trail.
Okay, what about network hacking, which has become a big threat?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, we do boast 256 AES encryption. That's top of the line. We're talking nuclear missile silo type of encryption. So as far as the Schlage hardware goes, it's second to none within the world. But that being said, we are still vulnerable to all of the other elements of the network. So, if folks are writing passwords on sticky notes or using passwords like 1234, of course, the system, can't defend against those types of orientation. So that's really where we need everyone who's, really out in the security industry to promote all of these different types of cybersecurity measures.
Okay, we have time for one more, and then, like I say, we'll make sure we get these questions over to James if we haven't answered them. So last question, what is the cost of the mobile credential compared to the regular credential?
Oh yeah, okay, great question. So like I mentioned, we will be offering a free trial on the mobile credential until about the end of 2020. EV2 credentials, I certainly encourage you to reach out to a security wholesaler like Annixter to get, your accurate purchase price of something like an EV2 credential. But I can say that the MSRP on that product is approximately $8. And when we look at the mobile credential going forward, we will be looking to sell it to the integrator community for approximately $1 per month as a subscription. But then we will be looking at also offering an outright purchase price for that mobile credential, but we haven't quite yet determined those details. More to come on that one before 2021.
Great, thank you. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you for joining us. And once again, thank you to James Rivet and Allegion Canada for their support.
Thanks, Steve.
At the close of this session, a link to register for next week's session will pop up. Please be sure to register. We look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, be well.